And here's a wonderful story about Martin. He came to my home one night with two students from Simon Fraser, and they were nervous. And Martin said, "You've got to hear this, and you've got to keep it confidential." So I said, "What's the problem?" And he said, "The Americans and the oil companies are drilling for oil in the Strait of Georgia and also off the northwest end of Vancouver Island." Boy, it was really interesting what was going on. And what triggered it off was there were a bunch of Americans who bought property on Hernando and were drilling wells. And local people came to us and said, "Hey, we're not sure they're drilling for water." So we said, "Oh, okay, this is getting interesting." Jack Davis in Ottawa was upset. Martin was upset, but he was worried because there could be some legal implications. So about 3 weeks later, my wife said, "We're getting funny noises on our phone." I said, "Oh, really?" So I picked up, those were the days of rotary dials, and Powell River had an exchange down near the Bank of Montreal. And I said, "Well, what do you think's happening?" She says, "I don't know, but it sounds strange." So I listened on the phone and I thought, this is strange, there's something going on here. And Martin had mentioned, and the two students had mentioned, that there was a big barge with drilling pipe on it in Nanaimo Harbor, guarded by Pinkerton agents. And these two students were kind of worried about that. So I clicked in, phoned the British Columbia Telephone Company. I said, "I think my phone's tapped." And they said, "Well, this is interesting. Somebody tapping a phone in Powell River, that's unusual. We'll check into that." And of course, they had the exchange near the Bank of Montreal where they used to plug it in and press buttons and all the rest of it. They got back to me a week later and said, "Mr. Palmer, there is some suspicion that you might be right, that maybe someone is interfering with your phone." So I said, "Well, have you heard of Pinkerton agents?" And there was this deathly silence on the end of the phone. And I thought, uh-oh, there is a problem here. And so that was the kind of thing we were having to deal with. So I want you to know that they did drill oil wells off the northwest end of Vancouver Island. There are 13 of them still there. They were capped. And the government forever kept saying, no, there's been no drilling. I've got the letter here from the Department of Mines and Energy, written in July of 1970, that admitted that those wells were drilled. And there is some suspicion that those wells on Hernando also were involved with oil drilling, but no one can prove it. But then again, the government stopped any oil drillings in the Strait of Georgia.